This video will discuss the Plague Herald class in the Gloomhaven board game. The Plague Herald leans entirely into the poison and curse status effects, giving tons of options to debuff the enemy. It's an interesting class that doesn't have a huge amount of direct damage options, but having the enemy almost constantly poisoned does add up over the course of the scenario. Just try not to poison your own allies, or do, maybe they'll thank you in the long run. Our card choices will favor those that take the most advantage of poisoning the enemy. At later levels, there are some really interesting cards that revolve around curses, and we are given numerous ways of muddling large amounts of enemies, which causes enemies to draw through the modifier deck faster to find those curses that we put in there. The Plague Herald actually has a huge amount of lost cards, both as one-time and consistent effects. In general, I take 9 as the base number of cards that a class would have if it uses mostly non-lost cards. The Plague Herald gets 11 cards, so I would expect to comfortably use 2 or 3 lost cards each scenario. Here are the cards I would take at each level. Level 2. Under the Skin is a pretty standard card, and Rot Maggots has higher damage with a poison effect. The downside is that Rot Maggots also poisons your friends, so it can be more situational. I would take Rot Maggots for its damage and for its potentially useful heal on the bottom. Level 3. Both cards are good. Fetid Flurry has high damage with a curse and generates wind on its bottom. Succumb to the Gift is an insta-kill as a loss. I personally think the wind generation on the bottom makes it easier to fully utilize Mass Extinction at level 9, so I would take Fetid Flurry. Level 4. Nightmarish Affliction has target 2 poison and curse with Dark Generation. Storm of Wings is a situational loss card, so I would go for Nightmarish Affliction. Level 5. We're given 2 options that synergize with poison. Willing Sacrifice is decent, but it's a double loss that requires you to use your own health, and you're already a pretty squishy character. Accelerated End is a more flexible card and synergizes really well with cards later on. I'm going with Accelerated End. Level 6. Black Tides is extremely useful with a non-loss wind and dark generation. Stinging Cloud has the potential for a good amount of damage, but I would still take Black Tides. Level 7. Baneful Hex and Airborne Toxin give 2 options to synergize with Curse. I think Baneful Hex is the best card to take if we want to maximize our Curse build, although it probably doesn't gain its full potential until level 9. In the meantime, the bottom is a decent movement with the potential to add a good amount of Curse cards into the monster deck. Level 8. If I'm going for a Curse build, my initial inclination is for Spreading Scourge. If there are a lot of enemies targeted, each of them having Muddle will burn through the monster modifier deck, making sure the curses you put there show up. Muddle also makes sure you don't get hit with an untimely 2x modifier. Grim Bargain does not do enough for the downside of cursing your allies, although you could potentially pair it with a stun attack to stun 3 enemies. I would take Spreading Scourge. Level 9. Up until now, we have taken cards that synergize with Poison and Mass Extinction. We picked Black Tides, Nightmarish Affliction, and Fetid Flurry for the Dark and Wind generation to make sure we can get up to the 4 damage as much as possible. We can also use the top to add a pile of curse cards into the monster deck. Convert the Flock is a card that works as a source of direct damage, but we haven't really taken cards to be a direct damage dealer. Take Mass Extinction. Our final card build is Vile Pestilence, Creeping Curse, Wretched Swarm, Rot Maggots, Fetid Flurry, Nightmarish Affliction, Accelerated End, Black Tides, Baneful Hex, Spreading Scourge, Mass Extinction. Ideally, we want to be absolutely heaping curses with Mass Extinction, while also using other cards to curse and poison the enemy where possible. Spreading Scourge should be used after there are a good number of curses in the deck. Wretched Swarm is a flex card that I put in there mostly for the move 4 on the bottom, and situational AoE stun as a loss. Plague Herald gets some pretty good level 1 cards too, so you can flex in any that you think are better. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.